this is where the steps start to overlap. While the factory starts working on sourcing and creating my samples, I'll have to move on to other aspects like creating the packaging. I have a ton of designs, so I'll continue to send tech packs for the new designs. I'll also be receiving fabric samples for approval, and eventually I'll start receiving samples. This is where all these steps start to overlap, and it may start feeling overwhelming, but the end collection is always worth it. This is in the making, season 26. One collection, two perspectives, every detail. So my tech packs are done, designs are all in, but that's just the beginning. This is now where everything starts to come to life, and that means I'm handing over my collection into the hands of the factory. Now this part used to make me nervous, the part where I'm taking all of my work and giving it over to someone else. But now that's different for me. I've learned to trust who I'm sending my work to, especially because I'm the one that built the very factory that's actually bringing this collection to life. But while the factory starts on their work, my work as a designer is far from over. I still have a lot to do. Now, while I am learning to let go of control and allowing the factory to take over, there are still a lot of things that are in my control. While Rich Stitch is capable of doing a lot of this stuff, I'm actually, as the designer, sending them everything that they need. So the detailed sketches, the tech packs, the fabrics that I intend to use for each garment, even though they're going to source them out in bulk, I'm telling them which fabric it is that I want, and any notes that they need for each design. To me, the clearer the communication in the beginning, the faster the process will be. As a fashion designer, you pour so much of yourself into your designs. Once you click that send button, it becomes a collaboration. You're no longer just the artist, you're the creative director, and you're the one guiding the next steps. In the beginning, when I first started designing, I used to be scared when I handed over my work, thinking that no one would really get it, like what I was trying to portray or what I was designing. Kind of second guess my own work as if it wasn't good enough. But when you choose the right manufacturer, you don't lose control. You simply gain a partner. And now the factory is taken over. They'll start sourcing the fabrics in bulk that match the direction that I gave them. They'll come to me with any questions that they have or any additional information that they may need from me. And the best part, they'll start preparing those development samples for the designs that I've been sending them so far. This part is a true collaboration of us working together, so that way we both can meet our end goal. But that doesn't mean I get to just sit around and wait for samples to arrive at my door. While the factory is working, I now have to design the hang tags that'll be used on the end production. I have to finalize any other packaging that I want to use for this collection. I need to plan my marketing campaigns. I like to do my marketing along with the packaging because sometimes the marketing will tie into the packaging. And I need to start prepping for my season 26 launch. It might sound early, but it's not. Development and branding kind of go hand in hand. So while I'm in the development phase, I also have to focus on the branding side. And every little detail into this collection actually matters. It's time for me to now start planning out my next steps. And those next steps for me as a fashion designer while I'm waiting on my fabrics and my samples is for me to plan out my packaging. So what packaging I want to do for these designs and the marketing that's going to go with it. I usually do my packaging and my marketing hand in hand because a lot of times I'll incorporate whatever marketing campaigns I come up with into my packaging. So to start out with my packaging, I start with creating the concept. And if you don't know already, the concept for my season 26 collection is called Living Proof. It's about sharing my testimony in my designs, but not just my testimony. Living Proof is something that a lot of people have lived out. So this is not just my story, it's their story too. And I need that to be portrayed in my packaging. So normally I would start creating mock-ups for my packaging to get that concept idea, or doing research like on Pinterest and things like that to get an idea of what it is that I want to do to start creating that vision. So almost like a mood board for my packaging. But this year, instead of searching on Pinterest and trying to create mock-ups of my own, I actually end up using AI. And I've already started. So I'm just gonna pull the pictures that I created through AI of the different packaging concepts, because these aren't actual mock-ups, this is strictly AI. So I'm going to pull those photos in. Let's see. see which one did I like more. I'll just put both of them on here. So all I'm doing right now is storing in my photos to start getting the idea of what it was that I wanted to do. This photo came out better, so let's go here. And for my packaging, you guys know I've talked about not wanting to do like the custom boxes with the design outside the box because I've had the issue with packages being stolen when I did that. So I'm not sure that I'll go that route, but I may do something like how this image is here with customization inside the box. I'll do some packaging on each individual garment. Of course, I'll have hang tags, which I did mock up a few different type of hang tags, and I have to decide which ones I like the most. I think it was this one that I like because it kind of tied it all together, but having different hang tags for each capsule, because if you haven't seen my 2026 collection, the concept is living proof, but then there's smaller capsules within the collection like In Full Bloom, and that one's like my floral capsule. So I'm thinking of each capsule having its own hang tag, maybe even garment label. I might not go as far as garment label, but a lot of my packaging is going to consist of hang tags, garment labels. I'm going to brand each individual item, but you know I sell B2B. I sell in bulk because I have wholesale. So I don't want to go too deep into doing too much branding on each item just because I'm selling this to other businesses that are going to sell to their customer, and those businesses typically add on their own branding, their own packaging. So I want to keep it simple, but I also still want it to stand out, and that's going to be my dilemma, but watch me make it work. So I started coming up with some concepts. And as I mentioned, the different components that's going to make up my custom branded packaging. Now, as I'm coming up with these concepts and making like my list of what I'm doing, I'm also thinking about my marketing. So for example, I showed you the little concept of my hang tags, how I want to make it a capsule of the living proof hang tags, but do a different hang tag for each capsule. One of the ideas I also came up with to tie into my marketing was to make my hang tags like a little mini journal, and I'm going to call it the proof journal. So living proof, this is where the end customer in the hang tag can write out their story, write out what makes them living proof. And then in the back of that proof journal, I'll have a QR code where customers can then scan it, and when they feel comfortable and when they're ready, they can share their living proof. Of course, it can be anonymous. You don't have to reveal who you are, but you can share your testimony when you are ready. That QR code is then going to lead to what I'll call like the wall or the board. It'll be like an online journal of everyone's stories of living proof. So this is where it's now tying into my marketing, is to make my garments interactive. It's not just about buying clothing or wearing clothing. The clothing has a story behind it, and there will be the living proof wall with everyone's story. So there's one of my marketing tactics, one of my packaging designs to brand it. I'll probably do something like the care labels will have affirmations on there or Bible verses. Another one of my marketing tactics I want to do to, again, not have it just about product, but have a story behind it. For example, the Breathe Again capsule, that hang tag could have a QR code on it where you can scan it to hear audio, and it's like a calming white noise, or it can be some sort of meditation or anything like that where it allows you to breathe again. See where I'm going with this? The collection has a meaning to it, and it's not just about selling a product. Or with Breathe Again, the tissue paper that's being used can have a subtle scent to it, like a lavender or something like that. That I want to be careful with because of allergies and things like that. So I don't know if I'll do that, but I'm just coming up with ideas that I already have written down that have randomly come to mind as I've been creating this collection. But once I create my packaging, you see why I create my marketing campaign along with my packaging, because I need to add those QR codes onto the packaging in order to fulfill my marketing campaign. But some of the other things that I would do for my marketing campaign would be, I already said QR codes, reusable bags. So I can, instead of doing the poly bags, which I did show here, I have custom poly bags. I can continue doing my clear poly bags that's branded, which I'm debating on that because I have a lot of brands that create their own custom poly bags for their boutiques and then they sell it, which is typically why I use just plain ones because a lot of my customers switch those out. So this may not be necessary and could be a waste of money, but one of the other things I could do is a reusable bag. So that helps the end customer. They can actually reuse that bag. It has a purpose, and then that also will be marketing for your brand. And it doesn't have to necessarily have my clothing brand on it. It can have the living proof concept on it, and they're more so marketing the collection than they are my actual brand, so it doesn't hurt my B2B customers, but they're still marketing going through the end customer. And then overall, when it comes to my packaging, I want it to be an Instagrammable moment. Or I shouldn't even say Instagram because I don't think people really even care about Instagram anymore. It's more so about TikTok or even YouTube. But make it like an influencer moment where you just have to record it to show everyone else what you just purchased. And that is marketing for you. That's word of mouth. That's people going online and sharing what they bought without even thinking about the fact that they're marketing your brand for you. So I tie my branding and my marketing together when I'm doing that. So right now, this is just my brainstorming phase. I'm brainstorming out my ideas, just how I'm just throwing out ideas to you guys. I'm throwing it onto paper, just writing down those ideas. I'm using AI to create those concepts for me as I think of stuff. I'll have it create the mock-up image for me to get an idea. Then from here, once I pull together that full plan, which I still have to continue going into, I'm not sharing it all with you guys because I don't want you to steal my ideas before I even execute them. But once I have that full plan written out, then that's when I will go in and start creating the actual graphics for my packaging. And I typically would use Adobe Illustrator for that, so that way I have vector artwork I can send over to the factory. This is where branding takes center stage. Every decision that I make right now in this phase, from the packaging to the customer experience, it all needs to align with that original story I told you about in phase 1 for Living Proof. My brand, nor this collection concept, is not just a logo or a name. It's how I truly want people to feel when they unbox this product. And of course, when they're wearing it, I want them to really connect with the message behind it. Now, I know I've been telling you about what I'm doing as far as my packaging and branding, but I have yet to explain to you why. I'm not doing this whole branding and marketing and all the packaging and stuff just because. I mean, sometimes I know me, I can go overboard and do extra, and sometimes it's not necessary, like those poly bags that are branded. I know it'll most likely be a waste of money if I do that. But there's a reason behind me doing all this packaging and the branding, because branding truly does matter. So let me just run through a few reasons why, and then you don't start doing it just because you hear that I'm doing it. I want you to understand the reason behind why we are doing this. So when it comes to your packaging, that packaging is that first physical touch point of your brand. When someone receives their order from you, the first thing they have to do is unbox it. And if you've been on social media, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you've probably seen a lot of people record their unboxing experience. It's like that excitement when you get something that you ordered, especially if you're waiting for it to be shipped to you. So before a customer actually wears a garment, they have to unbox it. They're touching the hang tag. They get to feel the label. Even when they try it on, they feel the garment label inside the garment. Those little moments like that, they make a big first impression. And that first impression is how customers will perceive your brand. So you want them to be excited from the moment that they receive their package. Packaging also builds perceived value. If you go with like luxury designer brands, you'll notice they have the ribbon, the boxes. You feel excited about that. Some luxury brands, you can go into a department store and buy the same things, but you may not get that same luxury experience because they probably already unboxed it. So a lot of people, when they know they're spending a certain dollar amount on something and they know if they go directly to that luxury brand, they're going to get that special unboxing experience. That's a part of the purchase, which is why you go directly to the store versus this department store that unpacked it for you already. It's not the same experience. So that packaging does hold value. There are some luxury brands where people keep their packaging and sell just the packaging only. Have you ever looked online like on a marketplace and they're selling Apple boxes, or you can buy a Louis Vuitton shopping bag? That packaging does have value to it. And as we already just talked about, those purchases turns into an experience. People record their unboxing experience, which is marketing for you, and that helps build value into your brand. And the best part about that is that it's an organic experience. It's not some paid influencer's opinion, but this is people just choosing to pick up their phones and record their experience. And with those experiences comes the memories. You're creating memories for your customers when they have that experience that they've recorded and they've posted. It's an unforgettable moment. That's something people will look forward to when they start buying from you, is the experience that comes with their purchase. The packaging also creates consistency. So if you do your packaging right, it should match your brand story and aesthetic, which makes everything consistent along the way. Remember, we are building brands, not just businesses. You've probably heard me say that multiple times already. In order to build that brand, you need consistency. The packaging also communicates professionalism. When you are getting a package that clearly someone's put a lot of effort into, it shows that you're more of a professional business and not someone that's just drop shipping, for example. You're putting time, effort, and investing into your packaging, which means you're investing into your brand and your product. So that packaging does help to show that you are a professional business and not just some online drop shipper. No offense to drop shipping companies. I did want to use that comparison because there is a difference there. Your branded packaging also drives loyalty and collectability. Like I gave the example of the Louis Vuitton bag, where people will either keep them to decorate their closets or they'll sell them off. People do collect those things, especially if it's something that is reusable. People will collect them. Your branded packaging is an extension of your brand story. Remember, if you keep it consistent, it should match your brand story. So this is an extension to that brand story. Your brand story is not just on your website or the aesthetic on your social media, but it should be portrayed in every aspect, including your packaging. Your branded packaging, again, if done right, it'll separate you from the others. We all know there's competition out there. We all have competition. That's nothing to be worried about, but separate yourself. Create that branded packaging that truly stands out, and you'll separate yourself from the others. And lastly, when you're creating that experience for your customers through your branded packaging, you're turning them into your brand ambassadors. Do you know how much companies pay for brand ambassadors? But if you can do it right, you'll have free brand ambassadors that's marketing for you, and you're not paying for, aside from the fact that you paid for your custom packaging, which, let me tell you, paying for custom packaging will be a lot cheaper than paying for actual brand ambassadors. And then you'll be surprised how much people invest into the experience for their brand ambassadors. So why not already have that experience for everyone? And it's not something you're only doing for brand ambassadors that the actual end customer will not receive. Your branded packaging will make your customers feel like they're a part of something special. So make that packaging special. Sending your collection over to the factory, it isn't the end of the process for you. It's more like the bridge. And once that factory starts sending you fabrics and sending you samples, it truly starts to feel real. So next up, I'm waiting for my fabrics to arrive so I can approve or reject any fabrics that I receive. And because I over design, this is the time where I need to start making cuts. So as I move forward in the development phase, I'm also handling my branding, and every step gets me closer to my end goal. So on the next episode of Iconic Fashion Figure Point of View, I'll start reviewing those fabrics that I'll be using, deciding which ones I'll be keeping, which ones we need to try again, or which ones will be cut. But before I get to that, on Rich Stitch's side, you'll get to see how they actually source those fabrics and how they come in to Rich Stitch. So make sure you subscribe to Rich Stitch's channel if you haven't yet so you don't miss it.